Hello, world. Welcome to this week's episode of Golf Subpar. I'm Colt Knost. As always, joined by the one, the only, the sleazy man, Drew Stoltz. How we doing, Drew?
Strong to quite strong. Good to be back in the studio with you, Colty.
Yeah, and golf is back, more importantly. Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial is getting underway, a place that's very near and dear to both of our hearts, Colonial Country Club. You've done okay around there.
I just have a little bit of course history there, being that I didn't grow up. That's not right. I went
Still
to college right there in Fort Worth, lived about an 8-iron from the number 12 green. Love that place. One of my favorite tournaments of the year to watch. Great place for the PGA Tour to make a little comeback.
Yeah, and the field is absolutely star-studded. We'll get into that a little bit later. But first, we got to get into a little funny money. And you have a wonderful story from Colonial Country Club.
I got a good little story there. So like I said, went to school at TCU, went to school right there, right by Fort Worth. Had a friend of mine. We used to go out there and practice in the evenings, late evenings, right? So I'd go out there. We were hitting some balls one day. My buddy grabs me. He's like, "Hey man, you want to just go cruise the back nine real quick?" I was like, "Yep, absolutely." Hop in a cart. We're gonna go cruise the back nine real quick, right before it gets dark. Hop in, play 10. We're going to number 11, which, as you know, dead straight par 5, long hole. We couldn't reach it. We both tee off, hit it. We both lay up to roughly the same spot, right? I hit my shot onto the green. My buddy's sitting there, standing in the middle of the fairway. Out of nowhere, from the 12th tee, a ball comes flying right by his head, dude. I mean, this thing couldn't be more than a yard from putting this kid down, right? Comes whizzing by. We both like pull back, like, oh my God, what the hell was that? My buddy is pissed. He's like, who the hell was that? There was no 4. There was no nothing. Who is this? Like, he was ready to throw down. He was a sissy. He wasn't going to do anything, but he was acting like he was going to do something. So all of a sudden, all right, he regroups, gets back over the ball, hits a shot onto the green. All of a sudden, we see a cart coming over the hill there, right on number 12, coming down to us. And I'm looking at the car. It's like, oh, this dude's about to get an earful from my boy right now. Car gets a little closer. It's like, oh, that's a pretty big dude there in the driver's seat. I'll be interested to see what my guy does here with this. Closer, pulls up. Guy gets out of the cart. Toby Keith. And my buddy looks at him. He's like, hey, guys, so sorry about that, man. I'm really bad off the tee. Apologize. That come close to you. My buddy was like, oh, dude, we didn't even notice it. It's not even a problem. Actually, it's over there right there. I gave you a nice little lie. It's all teed up. Gives a little small talk. Hey, all right, guys, appreciate it, man. Good luck to y'all going forward. See you guys later. We drive off, and I was like, you're the biggest sissy in the history of what happened to all that tough talk when
you don't mess with the country boys from Oklahoma.
He's a big man, big dude.
And he would put a whipping to you.
Loves golf, but yeah, that's a good little story.
I'm glad you didn't die going around Colonial Country Club. That'd have been really tragic. But speaking of another big man, we had him in studio this past week. Mr. Jeremy Roenick joined us, and he is an absolute beauty.
He is unfiltered, does not care. A really, really fun dude to interview. We got in a great interview with him. We start off with a little small talk, a little golf talk, get into that. And as the interview progresses, this thing gets better and better. He was an absolute blast to talk to.
Yeah, he is an absolutely unbelievable character. One of my favorite dudes we've ever interviewed, and I can't wait for y'all to hear it.
All right, before we get to our interview with Jeremy Roenick, I want to talk to you guys about a little company called Roman. Anyone who's dealt with erectile dysfunction knows how awkward it can be to talk about in person. Trust me, I've had some very awkward conversations with our producer, Mark. And luckily, there's a simple, convenient solution to get the treatment you need without ever leaving the couch. Our friends at Roman have spent years building a digital platform that can connect you with a doctor licensed in your state, all from the comfort of your home. Roman makes it convenient to get the treatment you need right from home. Just grab your phone, computer, complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. And if the doctor decides that the treatment is right for you, your medication will be shipped right to your front door with free 2-day shipping. You also get free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime you have questions or want to adjust your treatment plan. With Roman, there are no commitments and you can cancel anytime. So if you're struggling with ED, stay home and go get Roman. Go to roman.com/subpar for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. That's getroman.com/subpar for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. Get rid of that pesky ED right now.
Here's Jeremy Roenick on Golf Subpar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Roenick is in the house. 9-time NHL All-Star, one of the greatest American hockey players of all time, and not to mention pretty nice golf game as well. JR, how we doing?
Great. Listen to you guys' podcast. You guys are killing it right now. Love it. Have a lot of time to myself, so it's been a lot of golf. I think a lot of us have had a lot of time to ourselves, right? I'm good. It's glad to be with you guys.
Glad to have you here. We're going to get into a ton of stuff with you tonight, but first things, how is the game? You're playing a lot. How's the game? What are we looking like?
The game is actually pretty good. We were chatting outside with some of the young bucks, but I've been trying to get back into shape a little bit after the first month of drinking my ass off and eating during the lockdown and stay at home and all that stuff, and kind of got a little disgusted with myself. So I'm trying to slim down. I hit the ball a lot better.
You look skinny.
I'm feeling skinny. Yeah, I've lost about 9 pounds over the last 2 weeks.
I found it.
You found it?
Yeah, I found it.
I got it. By the way, give it back to me right now because
I will.
My game is slipping a little bit. It's strong. My driving game is really good. I can't make a putt to save my life right now. That's I'm hitting a lot of greens. It's putting. So I'm literally shooting 74, 73, 75 with one birdie round. I just can't seem to make birdies right now, but I'm striking the ball really good. Got some good tournaments coming up this summer. So, it's what I do now. I don't have a job.
I love it. What tournaments you got this summer? Where are you playing?
So I'm playing in. I'm actually playing in one of the Arizona senior events this year. Yeah, I'm 50 years old now. I can play.
You are 50. By the way, you look it.
I can play in the senior event now, so I'm gonna try to do that. I'm playing in a PGA sanctioned tournament out in Pittsburgh. It's the Frank Fuhrer Invitational, which is pretty cool. The Pittsburgh Field Club, which is a bitch of a course to play. And, a couple others that I'm trying to get into. And by the way, I have a couple member guests, by the way, that are more fun than going to Lake Tahoe. So I'm going to be looking forward to playing a couple of those.
That's the tour, to be honest, the member guest. I'm out of golf, been out for a long time. Colt's recently out. He's about to hit the peak of his career. The member guest circuit, if you get the right ones,
so good.
They're the best tournaments in the world.
This one that I'm going to is in Michigan. It's Indianwood Golf Course. It's a 4-day. First day is best ball. Second day is alternate shot. Third day is scramble. And fourth day is both balls count.
Ooh, touch them all.
Touch them all. And it is a drink, eat, gamble fest. I think the Calcutta gets up to be like about $100,000 and stuff. It's great.
That's what I've been telling you, dude.
4-day member guest. You better get your liver ready.
Not to mention, you have a skins game on Wednesday to get for practice round. If you get in there on Tuesday, you want to go see the course and play the course, you're playing 6 days of hard boozing, hard, playing, gambling, everything. It's Monday I check into AA for a week. And
exactly right. Yeah, all you PGA Tour players that think it's tough to play like 3-4 weeks in a row, go play a member guest for 4 or 5 straight
Get on that
days.
Member guest circuit where you're playing 2 a month and you're just drinking 7 days straight till you can't
So
sleep.
good.
It's
good.
so fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Colt, you are going to love the retired golf life, dude. You're built for this tour. Carts.
By the way, I kill it in carts. I'm a big cart guy.
Carts, music, booze, that's real golf.
So that is real golf.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can play sober.
Sober, walking, caddy, green.
What's sober golf?
Sober and sleep, exactly.
Yeah.
What's the drink of choice on the golf course for JR?
So I am a vodka soda guy. I love a vodka soda. At times I will go into a little tequila fresca. Depends on what kind of carry device I have. If I have a non-see-through thermos that I'm drinking out of, it'll be a tequila fresca, which is one of the best drinks I think on the golf circuit. But if I can't find anything, I'll just fill up a little water bottle with a little bit of vodka, drink it straight, and then I'll play the rest of the way. I'll do it before I tee off. Just get that nice little first hit buzz, and then I'm good for the rest of the day.
Yeah, it just calms the nerves more than anything.
For sure, no question.
Well, I was doing a little research on you earlier, and I came across your book, Shoot First, Pass Later, which I think would also be the name of Sleaze's book.
Well, I got to come up with a new name for my book. Jesus Christ. Thanks, JR. Son of a bitch.
I don't know if that's real true in my world, in my life. I'm shooting all the time, not passing ever. But that was my second book that I did. My first book was pretty successful. It was a locker room book. I spoke like I was in a locker room, swore like I was in a locker room, told stories like I was in a locker room. Actually, Sports Illustrated did a numbers comparison issue that talked about numbers, and it said in the Sports Illustrated, it said Jeremy Roenick says the F word 519 times in his book. That's 5 more than 50 Shades of Grey says the F word in his book. So that. I guess I beat 50 Shades of Grey of saying the F-bomb in my book, which is a lot of fun.
But I mean, that's how hockey guys are. That's how golfers are too. That's just how you talk.
Well, that's how you should talk if you want to give the fans the real perspective. Unfortunately, there's too many people who are chicken shit that don't actually really want to talk the way that people want to hear you talk, like you're in the locker room, or if you're in tour in the locker room, or you're talking with your buddies on the golf course. They're too afraid to sugarcoat it, and they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble, or that people are going to look at them differently, or they're not going to like them. But I'm in a position now that I can say whatever the I want and not give a shit what other people think.
That is well said, and
I
we're
like
glad
that.
to have you on the podcast at this exact time. But what was the response to that book? Was there blowback like, "Hey, JR is too vulgar, it's too much," or were people like, "Hey,
No,
this is the
it was
real
great.
stuff"?
I sold over 500,000 copies and did a great did an amazing job with my ghostwriter, and people seemed to love it. I got a lot of good feedback, which led me to the second book, which is more of a kind of a perspective of after hockey, being an analyst working in TV type of mentality, looking back. And I don't think I'll write another book, but as of right now, I'm
keep
happy.
shooting, keep not passing.
Correct.
That could be the third.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the beginning when you started hockey at a very young age, I believe 4 years old. Who was kind of your idol growing up? What made you want to play the game?
So I grew up in Boston, and during the '70s, and Rick Middleton was my idol. I actually moved around a lot after Rick Middleton, or along with Rick Middleton was Gordie Howe. I had a really cool experience with Gordie Howe when I was 7 years old. He dumped snow onto my head while watching practice. I thought that was the coolest thing that ever happened. There's like 100 kids watching practice, the Hartford Whalers practice on the glass, and Gordie Howe dumped snow on my head and winked at me, and kind of gave me that, oh my God, it's just me and Gordie Howe. He just acknowledged me. That was the coolest thing, and it was nothing for him, but for me, it made a lifetime memory and a lifetime story that I'm telling you guys now. Had the opportunity to tell Gordie, the story. He just loved it, but that kind of it really inspired me, and he was the guy that I really looked after, both on and off the ice, the way he acted.
Yeah, I read that story, and it really kind of inspired you to treat fans that way once
100%.
you made it. And it's amazing to me because you see so many, young superstars nowadays that kind of don't give the time for the fans. And
Assholes. There's a lot.
There
of
you go.
them.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There's too many assholes in sports right now that think because they play a sport or because they make a lot of money playing sports that they're better than anybody else. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen athletes come off the field, come off the court with the kids with their hands out, wanted to say hi, and they walk by and not even acknowledge them, not even give them a fist bump or a high five, or just walk right on by. I've seen athletes be asked by kids to sign an autograph, and they say no. It pisses me off to no end, because what everybody has to realize in sports is that the fan creates and allows sports to be professional. It's them spending the money to come watch you play, to fill the stadiums, come to the golf courses, watch on television, whatever the case may be, that makes sports sports. If it wasn't for them, for us, it would just be a normal old men's league with a designated beer guy at our local arena down here. That's it. So to me, you have to acknowledge the fan, you have to thank the fan, you have to know that we respect and appreciate that they're there, and anytime that you can stop and sign an autograph, anytime that you can take a picture, anytime that you can say hi and answer a couple questions. It doesn't take much, but it comes back to you in droves, and I always tried to make sure. I mean, I used to stick my hand through the camera hole during commercial breaks, take popcorn out of a kid's bag and eat it, right? While and he's shocked that I just did it. Yeah. Take a hat off a kid's head and put it on top of my helmet and skate around while we're waiting for commercials to end. Those little things are going to allow these kids a memory and a story that they will remember forever. And, when you have the ability to make that kind of impact on somebody and you don't do it, shame on you.
That kid will remember that story for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
why do you think like modern day athletes, not just hockey, but like other sports in general, why are they not that same, have that same mindset you have?
I think a lot of things happen. I think they lose, a little perspective and respect of the history of the game. One thing that will allow you to separate yourself from a lot of people is money. And nowadays in the sporting world, people making millions and millions of dollars. I mean, basketball players are making $50 million a year. Hockey players are making 10, 12, 13 million a year, so on. So you can go on down the line. I think when you have that, and especially today, I truly believe that the millennial, the kids of this age that have grown up being coddled, being coddled and pushed along in social media, and being able to pretty much get away from real life and not be able to communicate, to be able to have a face-to-face conversation because they've been on a phone, been on a computer. They really lose the perspective of of communication. They lose the perspective of real life. How did you get there? How did the game grow? And money is great for everybody, but they also lose the perspective of that there's other people that are not making that kind of money, that work hard every day, and we don't have the luxuries, or they don't have the luxuries that professional athletes do, and they forget that perspective of when they were in that situation. And unfortunately, they have that "I'm better than you" attitude because of it, because they play a sport that they think that they're better, and they lose that respect, not only of other players but of the history of the game.
Yeah, but I feel like for the most part, like, most hockey dudes get it. Like, they're cool guys. They're the guys I love to go hang out with. They'll have a beer after the game, or many.
Yep.
They love to play golf. They love to gamble. They love to just talk shit and have a great time.
Yeah.
What is it about hockey that brings this out?
It's a great point, and I'm biased, but I'm not biased. I've been around. I think hockey players are the most respectful. They are the most caring, the most approachable, and the most humble athletes that are out there, especially in the four major sports. I think they grow up, blue collar. I think they grow up playing in Canada, playing for nothing. Their parents were middle class, worked hard to put them on the ice because it's not a cheap sport. It's a sport that you need to have money to play. So that respect is there, I seriously think that it's how you're brought up. And it's the culture of hockey. When you have a lot of guys that have kind of grown up kind of similar, you make each other accountable. Because if a guy steps out of line in the locker room, NHL locker room, you're going to get your ass kicked. Mm-hmm. You're going to get called out by your teammates. 100% for sure. There will be fights on ice. There will be fights in the locker room. You will be told by many guys that either you shape up or you're not on this team. So it's the culture kind of that keeps everybody kind of humble.
And the culture of hockey, like, I find it very interesting because, like, culture of hockey, like, fighting is part of the sport, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I've only been to a handful of hockey games in my life. I've stood up more during the fights than I did for any part of the rest of the game, right? And that's just, like, accepted. But if you get to the NBA, NFL, whatever it is, a fight is like the biggest deal in the world. Suspensions, fines, all that stuff. Why is it that hockey, the dudes are the best dudes in the world? They're the coolest guys around. I got a bunch of friends, Colt, same way. Like, why is that allowed in hockey and every other sport is like, hey, you are suspended for half the season and you're fined $1 bazillion?
I don't know the exact answer to this question. By the way, again, the culture of hockey goes back to where fighting was accepted, protecting the top players. It's a very physical sport. It's a very demanding sport. It is an aggravating sport. And remember, we're playing the most physical, fastest sport with weapons in your hand, right? And anger and frustration mounts like in a second in a hockey game. So when you're in a situation where you have a stick in the hand, you're mad, you're angry, and you're not thinking, the next thing that happens is a stick across the head, or something happens violent with a stick in your hand. So fighting just became one of those things where real men are going to decide their differences and drop the gloves, go at it for a little while, and take 5 minutes and go back. It's always been in the game, and I think fighting has kind of changed now. It's definitely diminished tremendously in the game. I think it's probably down like 60% over the last couple of years.
Is that good or bad?
Depends who you ask.
Well, I'm asking Mr. Jeremy Roenick.
I love the fights.
Yeah.
I love fight. I had over 40 fights in my career. I whether I got beat up or not, I just loved the adrenaline. I loved the rush. I loved the fans enjoyed it. I think it's important because I was a top guy. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't have fights, guys would take liberties with me left, right, and center. And when you're taking liberties of guys slashing in the ankles, punching you in the face, hitting your, doing a lot of dirty, cheap shit to you, it gets tiresome. So if you don't have those guys protecting, the fact that and keeping guys accountable for what they do on the ice, it can get pretty hairy out there on the ice.
Go ahead, Cody.
Other than fighting, what's the thing that you think's changed the most? Because I remember, I watched that movie. Kelly Chase was involved in Ice Guardians, I believe, which was incredible. Because you had a guy to protect the superstars. Nowadays, it doesn't seem like there is that.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, the tough guy is a dinosaur now. It's exempt from the game. There's no more, designated tough guys. If you cannot play the game, you're not playing the game. If you're a fighter, you got to be able to play the game at a high level. Those guys are extinct. But it's you still have a lot of guys that are tough as nails that can play the game and will drop the gloves, and you'll see a good fight. I think the game now is more speed, it's more agility, it's more talent. These kids are bred from 7 years old to play the game. I don't think they're as mentally tough or physically tough, but they're way more talented. So it's the speed and agility and talent that's changed so much, that these guys have the ability to really bring you out of your seat in a talent level, not so much a fighting level like we used to do back in the early 90s.
You said you were involved in 40 fights plus when you were in the NHL. Any one that stands out to you in particular, whether you whooped somebody's ass or got your ass whooped, that when you think of fighting, like that's what comes to mind?
Well, I fought Bob Probert twice. It wasn't much of a fight. It ended really quick, and he's probably known as one of the best fighters of all time. I fought Marty Mcsorley, who was Wayne Gretzky's protector for so many years. I learned a valuable lesson with Marty Mcsorley. This was my second year in the league. It might have even been my first. He was coming up the boards, and I ran him so hard. I hit him so hard on the boards. Perfect check, hit him right in the chest. He went straight down, and I stood over him. My legs, he was in between my legs. I was looking down at him, and it was almost like I was bragging by the stare I was giving him. And I remember turning around to skate away, and all of a sudden I felt his hand on the back of my on my neck, and he pulled me around. And I turned around, and right before I can drop my gloves, I can hear everybody on the bench, all my teammates, going, "No, don't do it!" Next thing you know, bang! He hits me in the forehead so hard that I went black. Everything went black for a split second, and I'm trying to grab him just to hold on so another punch doesn't come to me. But I could remember the blackness and not being able to see anything for a few seconds, and knowing that I just did something that I should not have done, and I've never done that again.
Colt just shit his pants, brother.
When you grab me, by the way, I'm not comfortable. We might have to take a break for a second.
Let's regroup now.
All right.
But you mentioned Wayne Gretzky. Obviously, in golf, there's Tiger Woods, and in my opinion, we'll never see another Tiger Woods.
For sure.
Will we ever see another Wayne Gretzky in the game of hockey?
I think not in terms of the point production that Wayne Gretzky produced. I think Wayne Gretzky was so far ahead of the game back in the 80s. He was the smartest. Still the smartest player in the history of the game, and I don't think there'll ever be a smarter player. I mean, Sidney Crosby might be close, but Wayne Gretzky was the smartest player and just student of the game of anybody's ever seen. So he was so far ahead of everybody else. I mean, being able to get 216 points, 94 goals, we're probably not going to see that again. But Connor McDavid right now, I think, is probably the best talented player I've ever seen in my life. I mean, from top-end speed to what he can do with the puck to his ability to dominate a game. Nobody does things with the puck at the level and the speed that this guy does under control in the history of the game. So talent-wise, yeah, we'll see a lot of guys better than Gretzky, but not a guy who was able to dominate point-wise the way Wayne Gretzky did.
And he plays for Edmonton, Drew.
The Oilers.
Edmonton.
The Oilers.
Yeah.
The Oilers.
Edmonton's had
I'm not
a
claiming to
plethora.
be a hockey savant.
Got to explain things to him a little bit
Spell
when we come to hockey.
Spell this all out for me.
Yeah.
I'll chime back in when we get to some golf.
We do have to get to, so you and Mike Modano, same age,
Yep.
growing up together. Obviously, he was the first pick. You were the 8th. Y'all had quite a rivalry when y'all were playing together.
Big time.
What was that like?
So we actually grew up with Mike. He was from Michigan. I was from Boston. There was always that clash of who had the best hockey. Was it Massachusetts? Was it Michigan? Was it Minnesota? You know, growing up, we were playing on USA teams, especially 14 years old, 15 years old, all these young national teams where it was always in the scouting, always in the U.S. ranks, you know, who's better, you know, Jeremy Roenick or Mike Modano. So there was always that competition between us, right? When we're on the team, we're going over to Europe playing for a junior team. It's like, okay, who's going to have more points, Roenick or Modano, or national world juniors, who's going to have more points? So for me, Mike Modano is the best U.S. player to me that's ever been born, ever played. One of the most beautiful skaters, one of the most talented guys ever. And I always had to watch this, right? He was always better. So when I played against him, he was my leveling stick, right? So when I played him, I wanted to beat his ass so bad. I wanted to win so bad. I wanted to outplay him so bad. A lot of times, you know, physically, I would take my liberties with him. Try to make sure that I would win anyway. I mean, I got suspended for 2 games because I hit him from behind one time. I got my jaw broken because I knocked him out behind the net. You know, I did so many things to Mike Modano because I respected him so much, but admired him so much, but hated him so much because he was always better than me. So it's that kind of love-hate relationship that you just can't break away from it when you see him. I had a funny story at the end of my career. I've taken so many liberties with Mike, and we had a kind of a friction relationship, especially after knocking him out and having everything that happened in '98 and hitting from behind in 2004. But in 2008, 2009, I'm playing against him in Dallas, and he's going into the corner to get a puck, and I'm coming behind him, and he knows I'm behind him, right? And he's like, oh, shit. So right before we get to the corner, I went, heads up, Mike, I'm right here. Mike, I'm right here. Heads up, heads up, heads up. And I kind of grab him, kind of rub him off into the boards, and, we go on. I'm 39 years old right now. I'm, getting ready to retire. He's the same age. And we're skating up the ice, back up the ice. He comes behind me and goes, who are you and what'd you do with Jeremy Roenick? What just happened there? What just happened there? I'm like, I'm too old to be hitting you anymore, Mike. You're too good for me. And I kind of walked away. But, I have the utmost respect for him, and I seriously think that he's the best U.S. player ever.
How ridiculous is it, Mike Modano? He's obviously one of the best to ever play. Fastest, incredible golfer.
Awesome
good
golfer.
Looking.
Yep.
Yeah. I understand why you want to kick the shit out of him.
There's no question about it. Seriously, he's got everything, right?
He does.
He was married to a Hollywood celebrity. He's got he's in the Hall of Fame. He won a Stanley Cup. He's got everything that everybody dreams of having as growing up as a young kid and a young athlete. But he's a great guy, and you're right. He's got one of the most beautiful golf swings of all time. His golf swing is up there with pro level golfers, and he's crazy about the game, and he's a lot of fun to play with. But his golf game is over now because I think he's getting ready to have his fifth child. He's got 5 kids. He's going to have 5 kids under 6 years old. So his golf game is gone.
So I used to play a ton of golf with him, and I was like, if you put Mike Modano on the range at a PGA Tour event and just let people that don't, if there was no names and you saw him, they'd be like, man, that guy's probably really, really good.
Yeah,
he's
100%.
Unbelievable on the driving range. He sucks on the golf course, though. I tell him that every day.
It's like the worst thing you've ever seen.
Mental midget.
He is.
I don't, he's always played really well with me, but the 2 guys that I love playing with that have the best swings, Brett Hull has one of the most gorgeous golf swings, and he just doesn't give a shit about anything. So he's got the perfect golf mentality, and he's probably one of the best golfers I've ever played with too, but the golf mentality. But you're exactly right. If they were on a range with pros, you would have no idea they were hockey players.
He was my member partner a handful of years ago, and we were like pretty good friends, but this was like kind of us like really getting to know each other. And like we were 2 holes in, and he would hit a bad shot, and like every swing he made for the rest of the day, he was like, yo, do you see anything going on? Like, what do I got right here? I was like, dude, you're perfect. What are you asking about? Like, you're fine. Just hit the ball. He freaks out.
He definitely, he's a perfectionist, right? He wants perfection.
Yes.
And he has a golf coach. He has a swing coach, and he works on his game so much. I don't know how he does. I just go play. Screw the range. The range only puts things in my head.
He needs your water bottle out there before he tees off.
Yeah,
100%.
he needs something to tone him back
100%.
because he's wired differently.
He's a guy that
high strung.
He's way quieter, way more timid, way more subdued. He's one of my favorite guys that I've ever played with and played against, and I consider him a friend, but. He likes his alone time. He's got his family time, so we don't see each other as much.
What's your golf matchup like with him? Because you guys are both really, really good players. That's got to be
I'm usually ahead of him. I finish
Yeah.
ahead of him in Tahoe every year. I mean, that's where we play with each other the most is in Tahoe. And the last 10 years, he's probably beaten me one time in the last 10 years.
What's the hockey hierarchy in terms of like golf wise? Who's the best? Like, 'cause there's a lot of good hockey players. What's the
past or present?
Like past players, guys
Either.
that are playing in the
Or
celebrity
either.
circuit
Yeah,
and stuff
well,
now. What's the ranking system?
I think Brett Hull is the best.
He's good.
Yeah, Brett Hull is the best. I would put myself.
You're right there.
I put myself at second. Grant Fuhr is a really good golfer. Mario Lemieux is a real good golfer. Pierre LaRouche, who's a little bit older now, but he's a phenomenal golfer. Ray Whitney's a good
Whitney's
golfer.
the wizard,
man.
Witz is great.
He caddied for me at Phoenix Open this
He's
year.
the sneakiest scratch around.
Actually, Witz is probably better than me. I'm gonna put Witz at second. That guy can move a ball with the best of them. So I'm gonna put Whitty.
I'll tell you a young kid that's good. This young kid for the Coyotes, Clayton Keller.
Clayton's got a beautiful swing, doesn't he?
He can hit it.
We probably played up with him in Silverleaf, right? Have you played with him there?
Oh yeah.
He's just fluent. That guy's got a lackadaisical, beautiful, right down the line swing. Just nothing seems to bother him. I actually took him on up at Weekapaw earlier this year, maybe about a month and a half ago. And we went right down to the 18th hole, and I got him on the 18th hole. But he gave me everything that I can handle.
He's got that new big contract. Take all of it.
Yeah, get
$57 million.
I'm trying to get my son was actually supposed to play with him today, but they're closing Silverleaf early because of all of this shutdown closure shit.
Well, I got one more last hockey question for you. Okay, if you're obviously you're a big student of the game still. What player today reminds you of Jeremy Roenick back when you were playing? None.
I've had this question asked.
God, I had a player in mind. Now I feel stupid.
No, I want to hear it though.
No, but it's a great question, and I feel I have a great answer, like I do for most questions that are brought to me.
Yes.
Yes,
you can tell I like to talk.
Yeah.
Keep going,
I like the
bro.
none answer.
Keep going, bro.
Yeah.
Zero people.
I love this question because it's asked of me a lot, and and I've had actually people that have tried to decipher this with me to try to kind of break down players today and how we played in the 90s, how I played, and how they play now. So I loved to crush people when I played. I loved hitting so much. I remember every first shift I would run around and try to hit somebody as hard as I possibly can, and I would target the head, I would target the chest, and I would hit to hurt. And I did it a lot. A lot of times I hurt my own self because I'd go out of my way to try to play physical. I mean, Mike Keenan built that into my head to be a physical player. Scored a lot of goals, 500 goals. Only 4 Americans have ever done that. I was a third. Over 700 assists. That's pretty good playmaker. I have over 1,600 penalty minutes, which is a shit ton of penalty minutes for somebody that scores that amount of points. So when you take all of that in together, when Brendan Shanahan scored a lot of goals, he was tough, but he didn't hit as much as I did.
I don't want to say my answer now.
Alex Ovechkin is physical, hits a lot, not the playmaker I was.
See, that was one of mine.
Better goal scorer, but not a playmaker, not as good a defensive player that I was. I think my all-around game, my all-around game was better than Ovechkin. He's just probably the best goal scorer that the game has ever seen. That's true classic goal scorer. But I mean, Jamie Benn at one time, maybe he hit a lot.
That's what I have written
There you
down
go.
right here.
Yeah, Jamie Benn. Yeah, Jamie Benn was another guy
When he wants to. When he wants to play and be physical, he reminds me of you. A little, not quite probably as physical as you.
Yeah, I fought more than Jamie. I hit more than Jamie, but he's a power forward that has hands. He's kind of lost a little bit of touch in the last year and a half, but he's still a tremendous player. I'm a big fan of Jamie, but I don't see anybody in the game that does
Just
everything.
So you don't think I'm
did.
lying, though. I just want you to see I have Jamie Benn.
Yeah,
There you go. He's a research guy.
Cole, do you know your game?
I know.
Man?
I'm a big hockey guy.
Hockey.
I'm a
Cole,
big hockey
you know
guy.
your game, buddy. I like it.
Yep.
You mentioned like Wayne Gretzky had a protector, right? And a lot of the stars weren't as physical as you were. Did you have any? You seemed to embrace it. Like you didn't have anyone that was like protecting, like, hey, protect JR at all costs.
I didn't ask for people to protect. Like I'm a true believer that if you're going to run around and you're going to be an asshole, you're going to hit hard, you're going to do things that people don't like, and you're going to have to be held accountable. Like you have to be accountable for the way that you're going to play. And if I'm going to hit you as hard as I can, and I might take a cheap shot at you, you're going to come after me. I'll drop the gloves. I'll take my beating, but I'm going to come back again. I'm going to come back again, and I'm going to come back again until you quit. So for me, I love to have Stu Grimson on my team. I loved having Bob Probert on my team. I loved having Dave Manson on my team. These big giant guys that would knock people out if they got close to me. But I had no problem sticking up for myself and fighting my own battles. I actually liked that. Whether I got my ass kicked or not, which I did most of the time, I loved that, just that gladiator type of. I loved coming out of a game with blood on me.
God.
See, that's just got to be some way you're wired. Like,
dude,
you don't teach that. I don't think you develop that. Is that just something was that the case from a young boy? Like, you like to hit people and get hit back?
Not until I turned pro. I didn't hit anybody until I turned pro. Mike Keenan scared the piss out of me in my first preseason game that literally said, if you don't hit the guys that you're playing against, then you're not going to play pro. And I was like so scared that Mike Keenan was going to keep me from playing. I was 150 pounds. I started throwing myself like a human torpedo all over the place. And I found that it was effective. I found the fans liked it. They went crazy. But my dad always used to say to my mom when he was watching on television, if I got cut or if I was bleeding early in the game, I was going to have a big game. I was going to come out.
That got the juices.
That got the juices flowing. When blood came on me, it was almost like, you start frothing at the mouth. You said, "This is good shit. Bring it to me." I got excited and I started feeling better. And when you feel better and you feel confident, you're going to make smarter plays and make better decisions. And I always played better with blood on me.
That's
how I played golf
same.
too.
Yeah,
dude.
same.
I looked for my ball in the shit. I was like, as soon as that first Saguaro gets me, it's on.
Hey, I've been bloody on the golf course too. Me and Jim McMahon and I played Medina one year. And by the third hole, the glass was broken, and both of us had blood all over our shirts and cuts hands. We were, both of us hammered the not only the glass but the cart and each other in the match that we had.
You and Jim McMahon, you need to be that's a round that needs to be mic'd up, videoed up, the whole 9.
100%.
He's a legend.
He is a beautiful man.
That's priceless content right there.
That is,
without question.
Well, 20-year NHL career. Then you went into broadcasting. At what point did you start thinking, obviously, I know you like to talk a lot. At what point did you start thinking, maybe I should start getting into TV a little bit?
I really didn't, throughout this whole time of being a loudmouth, brash, honest, guy playing the game, I never thought that I was kind of setting myself up for television. I mean, television wasn't a huge thing. We had local television, but not the national side. And then when I retired in 2009, I really didn't know what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And then January rolled around. The Olympics were coming in Vancouver. Peter Laviolette, who was supposed to be going to the Olympics for NBC, got the Philadelphia job, so there's a spot open. So my agent called NBC, and I did a deal with NBC that I would behave myself and mind my P's and Q's and not say anything stupid, and got the job at the Olympics. Had an amazing time, did really well, and turned into a 10-year career. And it was something that I had to get used to, having people talk in my ear, talk about the game, being able to talk on camera, live, being able to get my words out. Obviously, I have a lot of things in my head, a lot of ideas, a lot of opinions. To try to get them down in 15, 30 seconds is almost impossible for me. And I had to learn how to do that on television. But I loved it, and I was honest with people. I told people how it was, regardless of who was playing, regardless if they're my friends, regardless if they're teams that I played for. And I let people try to, get the real stuff, and I think people appreciated it, and I turned into a pretty good career until this year.
And that's exactly why people loved you, is because you're not afraid. You're not afraid. You don't mince words. You say what you think. You have opinions, right? Which is not always popular on television. But how hard is it to walk that line between, hey, be a personality, say what you think, but also don't slip up too much and say too much, because then people will get mad. How hard is it to walk that line?
Does that happen?
No, not really. Definitely not for you, dude.
When you screw up with words?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm not too used to that. I was always on edge. I always had somebody from NBC watching me, always monitoring all my shows, monitoring my Twitter, monitoring my social media. But listen, I think our worlds are made up of personalities. They're made up of debates. They're made up of opinions, and especially when it comes to sports, I think people want to hear what the real truth is, what we as players really think about what we're watching. They don't want to be sugarcoated. They don't want me to talk, about the Blackhawks when they're watching the game. They know they suck, and I come on and I sugarcoat it because I don't want to rip the Blackhawks. So I played them for so long, or a player, or something like that, or the referees, who most of the people want to have their banter and want to have their bit sessions about, the referees. But the network won't let you talk about the referees because they want to have good relations with the league. And for me, that just wasn't me. I just want to speak the truth, tell people the real opinion of what I think, because that's what I'm there for. I'm not there to make up stories or blow smoke up somebody's ass. I'm there to do a job and to be honest. When I first got there, my boss said one thing to me that always stuck. He said, "We're here to inform, teach, but not make friends." And that kind of stuck in with me. I have enough friends. I don't need to talk on TV like I want everybody to like me. Sometimes it's just as good when 50% of the people hate you and 50% of the people like you, because you can say whatever the hell you want and you'll be okay. That's kind of the mentality that I run by.
That's awesome. Well, obviously we have to get into it.
Yep.
The reason you're no longer doing TV is the comments with Catherine Tappan and Patrick Sharp, which you were on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, which was fantastic.
Yeah,
by the way, they do an awesome job.
They do a great show.
But I mean, you said something just so innocent and just joking around fun, and then it just went to this whole nother level.
Well, I think there's a lot of things about this, and you learn in life when life changes, people change, society changes, and I'm always going to be one that's going to have fun. I'm always going to one that's going to want to entertain with a story and tell stories of what's happened to me, and I've done it many, many times. I told a story of something that actually really happened, a true story of my wife and Catherine and going on a trip and what people were talking about us, and we joke about ourselves. And unfortunately, I got caught in a culture. And by the way, I never said the word threesome in the whole thing. I actually praised my counterparts more or bigger than anybody else has on NBC, or maybe for anybody ever has, period, for the most part. But I got caught on a racy podcast, which is great, that tells stories, that lets loose. I was telling an actual story. I didn't ask anybody to do anything, didn't threaten anybody to do things, and I thought at the time everything was fine, right? I'm not hurting anybody. Mm-hmm. I have this conversation with Catherine. I have this conversation with my wife. The problem is what I didn't know, the NBC was going through their own problems. I mean, they're going through a huge investigation of covering up certain things that have happened within their network that shouldn't be allowed, whether it's sexual harassment or political bias or whatever the case may be. NBC had their own problems that they were under investigation for. And then I come up with my big mouth and tell a story, and they just didn't need, this is my opinion, they didn't need me adding fuel to the fire. So firing me is like, it's a notch on their good page, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, see what we did.
We don't condone that.
Yeah. Oh, we don't condone that. So I was like the sacrificial lamb to say, listen, we can't have any more. We have already, the head of NBC stepped down because of it. I can talk forever. I just believe that everything happens for a reason, and great things come out of bad things. And I definitely learned my lesson about society and what you can say, what you can't say, how people perceive what you say. Do I agree with it? Not all of it. I agree with some of it. But there are people that are still there that have done a million times worse in society than I have done, that are still there. And that kind of bothers me. But it is what it is. There are certain people that will get preferential treatment, and that will always happen in all of society, in all of industry, unfortunately. But I have some really good things that are coming, and I wasn't going back to NBC next year anyway. So whether I was done in July or they fired me in February, good things are going to happen to me. Learn from my mistakes, learn from some of the things I can and can't say. Do I have great things to say about NBC? Hey, listen, they gave me 10 great years. They gave me the opportunity to make another life for myself, create another image for myself, be with the fans. I'll never, I'll always be appreciative of that. But the way it ended was really unfortunate, to tell you the truth.
Well, let's get to that exciting stuff that you got coming up, because we were just talking about it before the show. What's next? If people love Jeremy Roenick, they want to see what you're doing. What's next on tap for you? When I got fired, I had a lot of time to myself to kind of reflect, kind of take some time to myself. I used to travel 300 days a year. Now I'm home every single day. I'm playing golf. I'm having home-cooked meals. I'm doing things that I don't usually do. And I went. This is just a strange irony. I went to a kid's birthday party over at Topgolf, and I was going to see my buddy Troy Gloss and his wife Ann Gloss, obviously big baseball guy, Toronto player. And I was there, and all of a sudden Eric Burns came up to me. Eric Burns, a great Major League Baseball player. He's one of the best characters on Major League Baseball, and period. If you watch his social media, this guy's unbelievable. And he came up to me and goes, "I can't believe you're here."
like I was just talking about you the other day with my partner up in San Francisco. We're starting this platform called No Filter Broadcast. And he starts explaining it to me. And it's all about broadcasting games the way we like to watch games. If you're with your buddies and you're at home and you're yelling at the television because you're mad at the referee, you're mad at a player, or something happens in the game and it's like, oh, you know, why that happened? You know?
I don't know what you're talking about. Never do that.
You know, God damn it, the referee doesn't he know I have $500 on the game? Damn it. You know, just it's the real life, real way to watch a game. So No Filter Broadcast is going to give people the ability to mute the television and not listen to the boring bullshit that a lot of the commentators throw you, and turn on our
No Filter
on your computer, on your laptop, or your face on your iPad or your phone.
That's brilliant.
And sit there and watch us and interact with us. Right? You can text us and we'll answer your question. We all have the ability to bring you on screen and make you a part of the broadcast. And also we're gonna have original content where, you know, we'll make up shows. Like I'm gonna have a gambling show. I'm gonna do a real life show where we'll talk about all aspects of life. What pissed you off this week? There's a lot of things that pissed me off this week. Well, I'll have a show probably on Saturday that what pissed you off this week? What made you happy? What made you sad? You know, so No Filter is going to be a great way for people to find original content and find it from all different kinds of people. And I say different kinds of people because let's say there's an 8-year-old. Let's say there's an 85-year-old that wants to come on No Filter Broadcast. They want to create an image for themselves. They fill out all the forms. They get their own channel, and they can literally use their social media to reach out to fans, watch me broadcast the game. And let's say this little 8-year-old is awesome. He's so much fun to watch. He gives a great perspective. He's entertaining. He's got some good words that he uses. Maybe he wears a tux. Maybe he wears different outfits, and people like him. So he watches them, and he grows a following. Well, when you grow a following, the next thing that comes is the advertisers. Mm-hmm. And what we'll do at No Filter is we'll broadcast we'll push out and publicize this kid, and we'll get advertisers for him. And if advertisers come on and want to, advertise on the show, we're actually going to pay that 8-year-old and give these kids the opportunity to find maybe a future in broadcasting, or at least have some fun and maybe make some money that save for college or whatever. So No Filter Broadcast is going to be coming soon, hopefully this summer, midsummer, but it's going to give you the real deal, man. And when you put Jeremy Roenick with a No Filter front end, you don't know what's going to happen next.
I'm very excited.
I think people are clamoring for. So just to be clear, is this for all sports? This isn't just
all
hockey.
Sports.
This is baseball, basketball,
this is
football,
everything.
Golf.
This is everything.
Got a couple golf guys.
By the way,
right
golf.
Is this for golf?
You guys would be great.
All right, we're
No
in.
Filter.
This is done
You're
deal.
in.
We'll do it for $1 million
Listen.
a year piece. It's done.
Listen,
It's
you guys
official.
you guys can create whatever you guys want. Advertisers like you guys can come on and make as much money as you want. Advertisers will love you guys. You guys are just a hoot to listen to. So we got to talk about that afterwards, because you guys would be awesome on this.
That's done.
So, and I'm also I'm working on coming out with a flavored whiskey at some point at the end of
so booze
First
and
off,
unfiltered.
you just
doesn't
said
go
you drink
hand in
vodka
hand.
and tequila. Now all of a sudden we're going to throw whiskey in there?
There's too much competition in vodka and
That's
vodka
true.
and
Good point.
tequila.
That's
Good
a
point.
businessman.
Yes.
That's a freaking businessman.
And I do like whiskey, and whiskey is very popular right now, and everybody's trying to come out with their own whiskey. I'm doing a flavored whiskey, which is really big with the millennials. It's going to be a chocolate
Are we
whiskey.
millennials? What are we?
I don't know.
I think I'm on like the
are you
old
35?
end of millennials. I'm 35. What are you, 35?
I turned 35 in a
Okay,
couple weeks.
you
We're
guys
the same
you guys,
age,
you guys are still millennials. Yep. Yes,
Are we
you
really?
Yep.
I hate that term, because
I do
millennial
too.
is like a derogatory
But you're
term
at the
for,
you're
like,
at the
punk-ass
back
kids.
end. You kind of
Yeah.
you probably have a mixture of both. I don't think you guys.
We're
aren't.
old souls for millennials.
You
All
guys,
right, we're going to talk about this
you
whole
guys
no
aren't pussies.
filter,
You
but
guys
I
aren't
love
pussies. You guys aren't
That's the
pussies.
nicest thing anyone's ever said to us on our fight. You guys aren't pussies. That's the nicest shit
Perfect.
anyone's ever said
You're
to
not
us.
tough, but you're not a pussy.
No, you're definitely
Perfect.
not tough.
Got it.
No one's ever said that about us. Can I do a weird, complete segue into some stuff that's completely unrelated? But I know you're a big conspiracy theory guy, and I could not do
Unbelievably.
this podcast without getting into some conspiracy theory stuff.
How did you know that, by the way?
We do our research here on
Jesus
Subpar.
Christ.
Dude. This is not some rookie league schmo ass.
You think we just show up and ask
You think
questions?
we just show up and be like, hey, Jeremy, how
you guys are good because I thought I was a secret conspiracy theorist.
No, dude. It's all in the open. So I got a lot of shit to ask you about this. Let's get into it right now. So before I ask you specific conspiracy theories, give me what's the one that you are convinced is true. The majority of the United States would be like, you're full of shit.
JFK Jr. still alive.
That's what I thought. Okay, so JFK Jr., who, by the way, I'll let you do it.
But why?
No, hold on. Give people the background on JFK Jr. in case people are unfamiliar. The plane crash.
Well, the problem, what people don't understand is our world is run by not the government, so to speak. It's a bigger, higher entity. It's the richest people on the planet, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Guggenheims, the Clintons. At the one time, it was the Epsteins, even deeper. The people that run the banking world. The Rothschilds run the banking world. The Rockefellers have run the oil all over the world. These people have run, in the 20s and 30s and 40s, it was the mafia. These people ran everything. They controlled the government. They controlled where all the money went. Well, all of a sudden, you had JFK that came to office. JFK's father actually made a deal with the mafia to help his son get into office. If he did, JFK's dad was not the most cleanest guy. So when
don't laugh at this, I'm all
ears.
Jeremy has my full attention.
Yeah.
Dude.
So now JFK gets in. Now, this is why he had great relationships with Frank Sinatra. He had a lot of good relationships with other mafia guys for a little while.
Makes sense.
For a little while. But JFK and his brother Robert, these guys they wanted everything to be clean. They wanted to be straightened up, and they kind of booted friends with the mafia. They started getting ready to call out some of these higher people that were controlling everything, and that's just not going to happen. And when JFK got assassinated in Dallas, it's a pretty up thing. Eight different people shot at him that day. 8. The cover-up of JFK, getting assassinated is
I thought it was 2
story.
People shot at him.
No.
No.
8.
That's what the civilians think. But
8.
It's really 8.
8. And the guy that got him was actually in the drainage ditch that was right in the drainage in the sewer, right where the car stopped for a split second. And you can see where the curb was marked with a white line. So they knew exactly where that white line was in relation to that hole in the sewer system. That's the guy that got him. Anyway.
Okay.
That you got to watch the whole show. It's unbelievable. But what's even more so for me is now JFK gets assassinated. That's a huge cover-up. Who did it? Who didn't do it? How did it happen? Lee Harvey Oswald. It's amazing how Lee Harvey Oswald came out the next day, and a guy with a gun just comes right out of the crowd and gets him. Like that's going to happen. They wanted him out. So he was the scapegoat. They couldn't have him around. They killed him the next day. So cover up everything. But anyway. Then you have JFK Jr. sitting there saluting his dad. He's, 3.5 years old, 4 years old. As he starts getting older, he starts understanding why his dad got assassinated. What happened? He starts doing all his research. As he's getting older, he's getting more popular. He's doing things. He is JFK Jr., and he knows about these higher entities. He knows about the cabal. He knows about the mafia. He knows all the people that he can bring down. By the way, you know who one of his best friends were in the early 90s?
Who's that?
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't think these guys talked about it? You don't think Donald Trump and JFK Jr. talked about it? JFK starts his own magazine, George, right? Starts writing things. If you look at some of the covers of George, Hillary Clinton, will she be caught? Will she be brought out? There is Bill Gates will control human population with viruses and antiviruses. This is back in the 90s. That shit's happening right now. So now all this stuff is happening. Actually, there was a picture with JFK that says John F. Kennedy will reappear in 2020. I mean, there's really weird shit.
I've read all about that.
There's really shit that's crazy. So when he's getting ready to kind of uncover a lot of the shit that's going on, By the way, JFK wrote Joe Biden a letter calling him a traitor, a handwritten letter to Joe Biden in the 90s calling Joe Biden a traitor. Like, this is stuff that's happening in the 90s. So when he's bringing out all these big time names, all these big people who have run the world, what's probably going to happen to JFK Jr.? Probably the same thing that happened to his dad. What's the best way to survive and survive to the future? Disappear. Just disappear. And I just think that the plane crash was a way to set up his death, to find a way to disappear. Now, JFK Jr. has a lot of money. He can disappear if he wants to.
He's still alive.
Whether he is or not, I want to believe it. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
They say he's in Pittsburgh. He's been hiding in Pennsylvania for a
that's
number
where
of
you
years.
go.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, with all the money,
there's two
Pittsburgh.
people.
Yeah,
There's two people.
Pennsylvania.
There's two people that follow Trump around to his rallies. Okay.
Yeah.
One is this guy whose face changes all the time and is actually very much similar to him, and his nose gets bigger, nose changes. It's pretty crazy. And then there's a woman who's really close to him in the crowd, but they're never standing next to him. And if you see their face and you see their smile, it's Bissett and her. It is identical. 25 years later. And I'm telling you, I am a believer, and I think something big is coming down the pipeline. I don't know what it is, but
I heard he's going to reappear in 2020.
2020.
Right. That's
So,
what I've been told.
I hope it comes.
But I say been told, I mean read on the internet, which means it's true.
Well, listen, if you need someone to come out and call out all these people, I mean, I heard through friends of friends of friends who are deep into this whole conspiracy thing and people in government that Trump has like 150 or 200 secret indictments ready to slam down on some of the biggest people in this world. Is that true? I mean, I read QAnon. I watch the Cabal. I follow all this stuff like it's crazy. Is it true? I don't know. But who's the best person to bring that shit out? Might be JFK Jr. right before the 2020 election.
Right before 2020.
Well, we could obviously talk about this for hours. Do you have another conspiracy theory you want to
Well, I
ask
just
about?
want to rattle off a few more because I wanted to get
we
your
gotta get
quick.
to emergency
It's a
9
quick
at some
takes.
point,
We're gonna
so.
get to E9. I don't want to take up all your time, but all right, moon landing, real or not?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay, Area 51. Did we discover alien spacecraft?
I believe in Area 51. I like to believe in aliens.
This
Listen,
is where I get interested.
Do you think that we're the only? I mean, space is so big, and it's galaxy after galaxy. Do you think we're the only planet where that something could have grown
With intelligent life? No, I believe there is something else out there.
There's got to be something else out there.
I'm not a big conspiracy theorist guy, but I do believe in some of that stuff.
I see things on TV and I say that's definitely not true. But I mean, I don't really know if I want to believe in aliens or not,
It's one of those things.
because that freaks me the out. Tell you the
It's
truth.
gnarly, dude. It's gnarly if you dig real deep into it, and all the Navy guys that have seen different things in it, all their accounts,
No, I don't want to.
line
I
up.
don't think I want to know. I
All right.
really don't.
All right,
really
we'll
wanna.
leave that TBD. Biggie and Tupac, alive or dead?
Oh no, they're dead.
Okay, Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah.
Rest
All
in
right,
peace
let's
to
get
both
going
of them.
to emergency 9. He ended it right.
What
there.
about the Illuminati? Real quick, the Illuminati. Are they real?
100%.
There you go, dude.
Illuminati's
real. I knew the Illuminati was
is
real, bro.
100,000,000% is there. It's
They're
true.
running everything.
They run. It's the Rothschilds. It's the Rockefellers.
Yeah,
it's,
Rockefellers.
It's all of them. The
Someone
Illuminati.
has to get this show under control.
No,
so I'm
this
going
is
to do it right
perfect.
now.
This is what we brought JR on.
Dude,
We can't
this-
sit here for 4 hours.
Dude, we have a rare brain in our presence right now. We need to tap into it, dude.
Listen, you're the rare brain. I have to
Illuminati.
deal with it every day.
Okay.
All right.
I think John Podesta's email should go back for 20 years. Let's see
We're
the
gonna
shit
have
that
you
goes
back
in.
on, and we're gonna do an entire show on
Yeah,
conspiracy.
if you wanna do a
theories.
conspiracy
That's done
theory
deal.
show, I'll do
That's
it.
a done deal. We'll
I
do it
love
when
it.
we do no filter.
I
All
love
right,
it.
keep
All right,
going. All right,
perfect.
well, now we'll get to our thing.
We do this with every guest. Emergency 9 fun questions.
Okay.
We're going to start it off. Number 1, we ask this to every guest. Movie about the life of Jeremy Roenick. Who plays it?
Well, I have two.
Oh, great.
Well, because
This is awesome.
because if you're gonna have a life about me, you're gonna have a young one and you're gonna have an old one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go Woody Harrelson would be the young,
Respect.
and then James Woods would be old.
Okay.
I have Woody written down.
You have Woody? Really? Is
Yeah.
that your only one?
If he
Woody
had
Harrelson?
hair, Woody Harrelson was the only one.
I have the one. By the way.
Who's that?
And by the way, I Googled this man today, and his current picture is eerily similar to you. We can pull it up after the show. I'll show it to you. Dolph Lundgren.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Fuck, dude.
That's really good.
By the way,
one.
that's like the highest
By the way,
compliment I can give to someone.
let me go do some push-ups and some pull-ups.
Yeah.
And I'll get there.
You would never lose to Rocky in Russia, by the way.
That's
Zero chance.
I have
Dolph Lundgren
I have
looks like
zero
you.
chance of looking like him physically, but I like the call.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren's a good one. All right, we'll go second one. You touched on it a little bit earlier, but give me one guy in the NHL that you wanted no part of in a fight.
Ty Domi. The craziest man on skates. Because he fight anyone, and he was the one guy that every time he got hit in the face, he got more excited. And he smiled. And he got more, just angered and fun. And you see this, his face looks like it's made out of Teflon, right? And his head is made out of Teflon. He's honestly, he fought the biggest guys in the game and was like, beat them. And he can play the game.
That's how I feel about you. Like the one guy you don't want, Jeremy Roenick.
Oh, I love that. That's good. Well, I would throw you some cheap shots too, because listen, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So
well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right, number 3, PGA Tour player who'd make the best hockey player.
Now, probably Koepka, a current Koepka, because he's built like a hockey player. He's got the mentality. He's just doesn't give a shit. I would probably go with Koepka.
Yeah,
I
can see that.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
And he's aggressive. He don't give a shit. He's firing at pins. He just it doesn't matter if it's a major or nothing. He plays best in the majors. He has the mentality of a
Seeds.
player.
And he's in the gym.
Yeah.
He's in that gym too. All right, next question. You're not afraid of a lot. We didn't even get into like the way you wrestle rattlesnakes and alligators and all that stuff. But give me one thing that Jeremy Roenick is afraid of.
Dying. Yeah. I have too much fucking fun.
You should contact the Illuminati, dude. They could probably set you up for life.
I love life so much. I love people so much. There's so much that I want to do in this life, and we're not here for very long. And God, when we're gone, it's a long time that you're gone for. You know that, right?
It's a long time.
I think I know.
It's
a
really
long time.
It's a really long time.
Well, I don't know yet.
And by the way, I just don't know what you hear all these stories. I saw the light, and I saw Grandma. I saw, and you just don't know whether that's true or not. You want to believe, right? And I think that's what keeps faith in all of us, right? We want to believe, but I just don't know. So
to
I
preserve
knew it
your
wasn't
life,
rattlesnakes or alligators.
No,
I just wanted to see what it was.
No, those things are nothing.
They're little sissies. Yeah.
All right, number 5. Hockey players are very superstitious. Craziest superstition you've ever had or that you've heard of?
Superstitions are crazy. A lot of people like to call them what are they? Routines.
Yeah.
For me, when I got hot, I would wear the same underwear all the time, no matter what.
Wash or no wash?
And this isn't my game. No, this isn't my game stuff. This is stuff that I wore like when I left the house. Like if I had a pair of underwear on, if I was scoring goals, I would have the same underwear on 6 days from when I first put it on. Because remember, you don't play every single day.
Yeah.
So if I scored on Monday, I'd keep that underwear on until Wednesday.
No wash?
And if I scored on Wednesday, I would have to wear them again.
Of course.
I wouldn't wear them like on Tuesday.
Right.
But I'd wear
Give
them
him a day off.
Yeah. So I'd
Let
wear
him
them on
breathe.
Monday.
Yeah, let him breathe. Let him breathe.
But wash or no wash?
No wash.
Okay, yeah.
You can't wash the hot streak out
They
of
got
them.
the juice. Yeah. They got the juju.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
so you wear the same underwear for weeks at a time because you scored a lot of goals.
I
dude.
did. I think there was one time I went on like an 7-game scoring streak, and that was 2 weeks. Those things could have.
Dude, they could walk out of the room.
They can walk out of the house on their own.
Holy shit.
You're probably like, please don't score. Let me wash these things.
Yeah, dude. Whoever was doing your laundry was like, please, God, don't score.
Yeah,
let me get these crusties in the dryer.
Fun.
All right, number 6.
All right, number 6. Which PGA Tour player needs to have their shirt pulled over them and punched in the face hockey style the most?
That would be Patrick Reed.
Okay, yeah.
It was supposed to say other than Patrick Reed.
Okay, other than Patrick Reed, because I feel like he's the popular answer.
DeChambeau.
Okay, dude, he's bulking up though, bro. He's trying to add all this mass. Are you afraid of Bryson DeChambeau?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not afraid of DeChambeau.
Okay.
Listen, he's a great player, but God help me watching this guy. Like
Yeah.
Putt the ball already. Figure it out. I mean, Jesus Christ. How many times are you going to practice swing? Listen, I love the fact that he's kind of revolutionized, all the clubs are the same. He's the electronics, the stats, all the stuff, computerized shit. But just play faster, please.
All right. So, on record,
is that a
Jeremy
good one?
Roenick, not
No,
afraid
that's
of
great.
Bryson.
That's
I
great.
think that's probably 1A is Patrick Reed. 2A is probably.
Okay, see,
I think you're right in line.
Right in the
with
wheelhouse. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
all right,
good.
Colt.
All right, number 7. What's the weirdest topping you've ever heard anyone put on a bagel?
On a bagel.
Bagel.
Oh.
Maybe in Philly. Maybe in Philadelphia.
No,
Some weird toppings.
I'm sure Philly has. They're
You can say
awesome.
pass. It's no big deal.
You can say pass on
yeah.
this. This is an inside job.
Isn't it? I don't know.
This was some research that didn't go as well as I planned, but we'll just go to the next question.
The Illuminati contacted us.
No. I know what you're talking about.
You don't have to say it. You
know
get
what
final
you're
cut on
talking
this podcast, by the way.
Maybe chocolate chip. Maybe.
All right, number 8.
I'm dying. All right, keep that as a pass, dude. Keep that as a pass.
Yeah.
All right, I told you we do our
Yes,
research
we do
on
our
this show.
research.
Yeah,
You're
that
gonna get
thing-
this on no
yeah.
filter, though,
Oh,
dog.
my
You're gonna
God.
get this on no filter.
Yeah, that went right over my head, by the way. Yeah.
That was kind of just thrown out there. Let's
Yeah,
see if
that-
something
yeah.
happens.
Colt was
Yeah,
like, "Yo,
kid,
should I
it's
ask this?"
that.
And I was like, "Yeah, see where it goes."
That's one for my book and when I'm 80.
All right, number 8.
Okay, number 8, dude. I'm dying right now. All right, most fun athlete or celeb that you've ever partied with. A guy that you, because you party.
Yeah.
Give me a guy that you're like, oh, he's gonna be there. Like, I gotta ramp up.
Oof. God, I've been with a lot of fun guys. John Cusack, it's just awesome. A lot of fun. Dan Aykroyd,
Oh, really?
absolutely
Wow.
blast.
Beast.
Blast. We
Wow.
partied with Dan Aykroyd in Toronto one time. He was with the band and we were at his bar and a bunch of us went after a game and we actually got up and played instruments and sang with him up on stage in front of everybody. It was awesome. And John Belushi.
Oh, yeah.
John
You partied with
Belushi's
John
brother.
Belushi?
John Belushi's brother. Jim.
Yeah, Jim. Okay.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's another great guy that I just had a blast to do.
Could you give me a quick? Because I've got some friends in Chicago. They said there was a place called Stanley's where you used to
best.
go downstairs, closed quarters. You and Eddie Vedder used to do
Best.
karaoke. True.
Yep, very true. And one of the best sports bars of all time. One of the unfortunately, God rest the soul of the owner. He's one of the greatest guys in the world. But Stanley's was an iconic place to go to. There was a time when Chelios and I would have our golf tournament, and Chelly's best friends with everybody, but Eddie Vedder and Kid Rock are two of his best friends. So they were there that night, and they got on stage, and they had a competition between each other. So it's only us, the golf tournament at the bar, and all of a sudden the band is up, and here comes Eddie, and here comes Kid Rock, and they have this competition. They have 3 songs that they have to sing each. The first song was they had to sing their favorite song of all time. So Eddie sang his favorite song, Kid sang his favorite song. Then the next song they had to sing was their favorite song that they ever wrote themselves. So Kid Rock sang his favorite song, and Eddie sang his favorite song. And then the third one is they had to sing one of their favorite song of each other.
The other one wrote.
So Kid had to sing his favorite Eddie Vedder song, and Eddie had to sing his favorite Kid Rock song. 6 songs total, and they didn't miss a word on any song. They nailed it. The talent that oozed out of both of these guys. They had everybody in the bar just rocking, jamming, screaming, and they didn't miss a beat. It was one of the best concert performances of spur-of-the-moment thing I've ever seen in my life.
I got friends there that like this is a thing of legend. Like they
Legend.
would go down to the bottom of Stanley's, no one could get in. But the stories that came out were like,
Yep.
this was the coolest thing.
You'd
of all time.
You'd walk up to Eddie Vedder. He'd had a hat on. You would have no idea who he was, and he was just that cool. And he was sitting there with a beer in his hand. He's like, "What's up, dude? What's
That's
going
JR.
on?" Yeah,
That is
JR,
awesome.
what's
JR
going on?
life.
Amazing.
All right, last question. You've had over 800 stitches in your face.
In my face.
Just in your face.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That is insane to me. So who do you think's had more work done on their face, you or Holly Saunders?
That's close, dude. That's a tight call.
We bring tough questions.
That's
around
real
here.
tough because I know Holly. I've known Holly from my NBC days. I think if you put like total body stitches, she might have me.
All right, perfect.
Over 800 in the grill alone.
Yeah,
I love it.
But I love Holly's great.
She's awesome.
I love Holly. She's always been so
Holly.
sweet. She's great to look at. She's great to talk to. She's a great golfer. I've always enjoyed Holly Saunders.
Awesome. Well, I've enjoyed this. This
has been a fun one,
incredible.
dude. This is a tough one to top. We're gonna have you back on. By the way, we're gonna do all conspiracy
awesome.
theories.
I'm in.
We just touched the tip of the iceberg.
I'm going back and doing my investigating right now. My
Dude,
research.
thank you so much.
I'm
That
gonna
was a
hey,
blast.
touch me.
Thanks,
I'm gonna
Drew.
talk to the Illuminati and just get to the bottom of this.
It's there,
whole
man.
thing.
I'm telling you.
They're there.
They are there.
That was Jeremy Roenick on Golf Subpar. That was the beautiful Jeremy Roenick. Sleaze, he's a crazy sumbitch.
Beautiful.
God.
Beautiful is a good word to describe that, man. We need more dudes like that. I feel like we caught Roenick at the perfect time because he's out with NBC. He's doing his own thing. He does not mince words, obviously, as you just heard, and he is ready to tell all.
Sleaze, I really liked what he had to say about the no-filter broadcasting. I think that's going to be so entertaining and something that I think a lot of people have been talking about, but they're finally getting to work and putting it out there.
Yeah, there's multiple people I've talked to. They're like, this would be great. What if we just had a real broadcast with dudes that just talk like how regular guys talk? And it sounds like he's actually like putting the platform together. I don't know how you do it. Sounds like JR is already in the mix of doing it. But if that really goes, that could be. I would much rather listen to two guys in that sport that know what they're talking about and can say whatever they want than like a regular broadcast typically. I know that hurts you because you're a regular broadcast dude. No offense to any golf broadcast.
I can be bought. I can go both
you
ways.
Can, yeah, you're definitely for sale.
Exactly. But he was a blast to talk to, and you really piqued his interest when you brought up the conspiracy theories.
Dude, I feel like we were just scratched. I feel like if we would have started the podcast at the very end right there and just said, hey, tell us about your conspiracy theories, we could have gone for another 2 hours because he like lit up like a Christmas tree at that point. It's like, yeah, dude, Jfk Jr. definitely still alive and all this other shit.
It was very
He's a
interesting.
wild dude, bro.
But he was a blast to talk to. But next week, let's give him a little tease.
Hold on.
I think you got
I got something. Hold on.
Well, this is in honor of our guest next week. You have it on upside down, but no big deal.
Don't worry about it.
We'll just go with it.
Keep going.
The one, the only, Jim McMahon will be in the building. There's a chance he'll have a headband on. There's a 100% chance he'll have sunglasses on, and he's going to look fantastic, and I can't wait to talk to him.
Another fun one. Not a golfer, but a guy that's got better stories than arguably anyone out there. Really, really going to be a fun interview.
It is. It's going to be a blast. But hope y'all enjoyed it. We'll see you on next week's Golf Subpar.